The questioning of Boruto is about to begin in chapter 14, and the unexpected turns that it will bring to the story are surprising. Today I have got 10 predictions for what's gonna happen next in the legacy of Boruto, starting with the birth of a new Shinju, who may be the clone of Shinki from the Sand Village. I'm expecting this chapter to heavily focus on lore, or simply be an action-packed one. The introduction of this new Shinju, who became the cliffhanger last month, would expand the plot by involving other villages in the grime outburst. If this Shinju, as assumed by appearance, turns out to be made out of Shinki's body, then it would automatically prove that the grimes had reached other villages too, and it's a global emergency for the whole shinobi world. Seems like a clever teaser for what's been cooked for the story, as the future plot of Kawaki will not be a disaster to Konoha alone, but the entire ninja world, as he is targeting the whole system of shinobis. This new Shinju turning out to be Shinki would only prove that a world-ending threat has already emerged. He could be the only Shinju who would target a village other than Konoha, and his prime target must be based in the Sand Village, someone who had been the closest to Shinki all his life, the Kazekage Gaara. This would give us more threads for the story to expand on. The Shinjus invading different villages would engage more characters in the story, giving us a dynamic storyline instead of the typical linear way of just focusing on the protagonist and the deuteragonist. I think the whole role of Shinjus was to bring relevance to the characters in a convenient way. There was no way to involve people like Moegi, Konohamaru and Gaara in the plot if these new creatures were not after them. That's why I believe they would help in bringing the best out of their targets. But someone is definitely going to be devoured to show us the consequences of getting victimized to these living god trees. I will discuss this possibility on the 6th theory of this video. For now, let's move on to number 2, which again brings us to the new Shinju, but with an unexpected twist. What I think is that the visions of Koji where the 5th Shinju was shown actually belongs to a timeline that was avoided. This new Shinju could have been the Ten-Tails variant of Naruto, maybe in some other timeline. Kawaki did not send Naruto to the timeless dimension. As a result, he got devoured, and this creature was born from his chakra. This means the Shinju who's about to appear in the next chapter will not be this Naruto looking one. Rather, it could be a familiar face, most likely the one who was promised a huge role by the authors. And the only person who was said to be playing some important part in the story is none other than Kakashi Sensei. Kurashi back in the day said there is a reason behind Kakashi not appearing much in the story. So could it be that he was talking about his huge legacy being recreated by this new living god tree? One thing I like about the new generation writing of this series is the utilization of already popular established characters into the plot. The writers aren't giving the older legends the same role, but are using their legacy in forming new characters and plots. Like the mighty fate of Jiraiya got transformed into the mighty role of Kashin Koji. His renowned role to search for the child of prophecy was turned into the prescience power, which now helps his cyborg clone to write his own and unique story. Similarly, Boruto inherited the generational will of fire from his father and grandfather, as well as the strong shinobi will of his master Sasuke. Now the Shinjus are also contributing to this narrative by utilizing the already established characters like Sasuke and possibly Kakashi. We may soon get to see this clever use of existing legends with the reveal of a Shinju who's based on one of the most influential characters in Naruto, Kakashi Hatake. Imagine when everyone thought Tobi was Madara, but in the most unexpected turn of events, he was revealed to be Obito Uchiha. Looking at the current state of the story, with the glimpses of future having a probability to turn wrong, I believe we all are gonna get surprised with this new chapter. Prediction number 3 follows the reveal of this new Shinju, as the person who might update Konoha with this event could make her comeback in this chapter, either appearing to give insights to the leaf about what's going on in the Ten-Tails dimension. May or may not be a thing this time, considering how she was caught red-handed by Mamushi last time, but she could definitely interrupt the interrogation of Boruto, as she is curious to learn some things from him. She has already mentioned her desire to have a talk with him back in chapter 8, so now that he's back in the village, we could get to see some valuable exchange between the two. But the 4th possibility hints at their conversation cutting short or never happening at first place, since there is apparently a toad of Koji waiting around the Hokage building, whose job is to keep an eye on everything. And looking at how Boruto got reverse summoned to Koji in the flashback, it's very likely for the Toad Sage to control this frog and make Boruto have physical contact with him. And once this frog is successful at touching the hand of the prodigy, he would simply be summoned back to Koji's hideout, hence a big brain escape. For number 5, let's predict who could be on the cover art this time. My candidates are Kashin Koji, Aida and Konohamaru. None of them have appeared on the cover art so far, which enhances their possibility to be there. It could be Koji, just cause of his important role in the story that was revealed last chapter, and he could be doing something big in this one too, possibly by reverse summoning Boruto and coming up with a new plan. I advocate for Aida because she hasn't been relevant for a while, and now that her person of interest is back in the village, it could be that she would make her attempt to talk with him, hence conquering the cover art. Finally, Konohamaru, for the massive foreshadowing from the first episode, which teases him handcuffing Boruto. He played a huge role in one way or another by catching the most wanted person, so I believe he deserves to be on the cover for this achievement. Talking about Konohamaru, we are now at number 6, and as I said, a discussion about the Shinjus and their possible fates is really important, simply because each of these creatures could show us every possible outcome for various things which could happen to them, starting with the death of a character, to show us what happens when someone gets eaten by the Shinju. Konohamaru could be the one to get himself be sacrificed, just to show us a never before seen phenomenon, simply because there is no better way for him to gain some glory, and the masters in Naruto verse have died a lot of times to make their students stronger. So even though it's not a prediction for this chapter, but the death of Konohamaru has a really high chance of happening. Moving on to number 7, let's talk about the sneak peek panel where Sakura was shown to heal Inojin, who literally came back from death thanks to Himawari's healing abilities. Some people are seeing this as a foreshadowing for what her role is going to be in the future, but I don't think she deserves to be reduced to a medical ninja just because of her healing capabilities, which stem from a Biju, the Byakugan genes, the enormous 10 tails power, the capability to mix Biju chakra better than any ancestor, and the potential to be the second blue vortex of this story. All of it will vanish if Himawari ends up becoming a healer like Sakura. There is a lot more in her character, like a possible connection to the Otsutsuki clan and the potential to deal with these new villains. Think of it this way, Jura did defeat Himawari in a one-on-one battle, but she could definitely get rid of someone like Hidari, who's not experienced enough to gain full control over his powers. That's why I believe a combative future is waiting for Himawari instead of a passive one. No matter, her healing powers will also be utilized in the plot, but she would most likely have more relevance in the story due to her caliber of being a human Biju. The 8th prediction takes us to Boruto again, and how his questioning could go down. If it's Shikamaru who would question him about everything, then he could ask him things that he himself wants to know the answers for. I don't think Boruto would blame his situation on Kawaki, cause that's not how he does things. He still sees him as a misguided brother, so there is no need for him to get him in trouble. In the very first chapter, Aida said that omnipotence cannot be reversed, so the only way to save Boruto must be to create new memories among people. This makes me believe that the prodigy would clear his image by only getting rid of the major allegations. He could assure everyone that Naruto and Hinata are indeed safe, and he will bring them back too once the right time comes. At present, the main threats are the Shinjus, and there is no way for Konoha to deal with them without his help. The whole interrogation thing could establish a peace treaty between Boruto and the Leaf, and this unexpected alliance would be the reason for Kawaki's first step towards an inevitable darkness. He would lose faith in the Leaf and the Shinobis, making him chase his own version of resolution. For the 9th prediction, I think a flashback sequence of how the person who had to get sacrificed for the birth of the new Shinju would be shown. We may get to see Gaara and Shinki fighting the claw grimes in their own village, or possibly the off-screen battle of Kakashi with the grimes, which got him turned into a tree. Furthermore, if Boruto's capture is too serious of a deal that the higher-ups won't even listen to what he has to say, then maybe one of the following characters would help him to escape. First, we have Shikamaru, simply because he connected with him earlier and knows that Kawaki did him bad. Then we have Mitsuki, who felt that Boruto may actually be his son, so after getting informed about his capture, he could do something to release him. Then we have Aida, who may simply take Boruto with her, just to talk out some things that she is confused and curious about. This would be a huge slap in the face for Kawaki, who would lose his most valuable asset, and could be the beginning of his journey in becoming the Apostle of Destruction. Now, as for the 10th theory, I believe a small detail from the last chapter has teased Orochimaru to make his debut in the manga. He could have already arrived at Koji's hideout, and if you wanna know more about this possibility, please check the video on the screen right now, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stuff. I will see you next time.